as a composer, it's a bit rare that I get to explore different lo-fi drums, but after getting the chance to explore the Prism organic lo-fi drums from the Ava Music Group, I have found myself loving the warmth and the soul that's just baked into these drums. So let's take a closer look at how the library actually works, and if you are a composer, maybe some ideas on how you can implement these into your music. So at the very heart of this library is this main page. This is where you get that fun, user-friendly interface that offers a comprehensive overview of the instrument itself. Right in the middle, we have this overhead shot of the Prism, and this is where you can easily switch between the 10 different drum kits, each adding a new quality. So if we take a closer look, the Prism is divided into 3 main categories: kicks and perks, open and close hi-hats, and claps and snares. You'll notice that there are always 10 preset points per color. So there's gonna be 10 of the red points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up until 10. And then you'll notice that the triangle almost resets itself. So here we'll have 10 of the claps and snares. And then if we bring it up here, it resets itself again. And now we have 10 of the kicks and perks. And if you want quick access to those 10 presets in total, you can go over here to the snapshots and you'll see that the first is raindrops, then starry, lighthouse, cosmic, lazy, and more. So take a look at the keyboard below because you'll see that we have the different assignments for snares and kicks and different hats. And then C3 is assigned to a special lo-fi layer, which we'll talk about soon. But you can easily change the entire sound just by moving the Prism. So let's take a look if we move it over by 1. So notice that everything shifted over to the right just by 1. And let's take a listen. Let's try something over here. Then over on the left, you'll see that we have a fader for compression. And then they also have a fader on the right for your secret sauce. And it really feels like it's opening up the kick a little bit more, adds a little bit of character. And then the last thing on this page is the lo-fi layers, which is actually a really awesome addition that doesn't necessarily relate strictly to the Prism, but that is where this C3 key switch comes in handy. So here you can control the volume if you want it up or down. You have left or right to choose which layer you want. And then the plus and minus lets you adjust the pitch of the layer. So let's try out the next one. Sounds like footsteps. Pitch it up. Pitch it down. Lower the volume. Bring it back. So that's F, G flat, G, A flat, A, and it goes all the way up. Let's try... So it's nice that you can add a little bit of noise to the kit, so it's not just the drums themselves. Let's try something like that. Water flowing. And bring it down. Nice, so those are your lo-fi layers, and that's just from this main page itself. Let's move on to the effects next. This page is where you can really start diving into the customization of your sound. And personally, I think this is where I would probably spend a lot of my time. On the left, you see that we get individual FX control for every section of the kit. So this is just for our kick drum. We have one for our snare, we have clap, close hi-hats, open hi-hats, percussion 1 and 2, and then our crash. And underneath is a list where we get all 10 different styles of samples. So right now, if I were to click kick, it would say raindrops, kick 1. We could go to starry, kick 2. We could go to lighthouse 3, Cosmic is kick 4, and you can scroll down and you see you have up to 10. And what's cool is that if you go back to the Prism page, if you were to move it, let's say to number 4 over to the right, and then we go back to effects, everything is changed to the cosmic samples. But you of course have the option to mix and match. So let's say you want starry kick, but then you want the open hi-hats to be lazy. And then you want the clap to be maybe raindrops, and then the crash, you want something like ocean. So this is where you can mix and match and start creating a sound that's a little bit more unique and different from just the automatic presets. And then on the right is where we have our actual effects. So let's go to the kick, and first up we have our compressor. You turn that on and you can adjust the threshold, the ratio, attack, release, the makeup gain, and the mix of how much compression you actually want. Then you have stereo, so you can decide if you want it to be left and right or just a strict mono. For something like this, you probably want your kick to be mono, so I wouldn't necessarily go stereo here, but maybe for something else. Then you have the exciter, so you can adjust your saturation. You could adjust the tilt. Then you have the transient, so your initial kind of attack and then decay. The pitch is great if you want to fine tune the sound of your drum. And then as a composer myself, I really want to use the reverb and delay as more of a sound design tool, because here you can start influencing the sound within a space itself. So if we would turn on the cathedral and then like bump up the mix, that kick no longer sounds like a regular kick, but more like a sound design effect. And you can change from cathedral to the drum room. Mids only. Sizzle. I actually like that one a lot. And then let's try the delay. Let's go for a 16th note. Let's increase the mix. All right, and then let's add back in the reverb. I really like that a lot. I feel like I'm getting a little bit more creative, and this is all just with a kick drum. You know, we can do this for every single section of the drum kit. All right, so let's turn off all of these extra stuff. Let's go back to just our straight drum kick. Then we have some EQ settings. So to the left, we have our high pass and low pass filter. So let's turn on that. This is right now the low pass. Right, and then we can switch on over to the high pass. So those are simple enough, but then you also have the EQ. And what I really like about this is that it's not just your normal low, mids, and highs, but if you look closely, you can see you get to adjust specific frequency ranges. So you have the band for, I believe that says 20 to 80, and then you have roughly about 100 to 300, 350 to 600, 1 to 4K, 5 to 8K, and then 10 to 20K. So you have a little bit more control over the frequency ranges of the different sections. And then last but not least, we have the overall volume as well as the panning knob. So if you want it center, left, or right. And then again, this is something that you change per drum. That was just the kick, but imagine what you can do with something like a clap, right? This is the raindrop clap. Everything is set back to normal. Let's go to our reverb, increase that. So you can hear how this becomes a little bit more like a sound design tool rather than just your kit. And I really love that you can just dive into each element individually. You can refine as needed or stack a ton of different effects to help you craft this signature sound that you might not have found otherwise. All right, so now let's jump on over to the master output page. Here you're gonna find tools that are designed specifically as this overarching umbrella for all of the different sounds and effects that you were customizing and tweaking from before. And here we have 4 main effects to adjust. So you have compression, you have tape, you have a limiter, and the secret sauce. So the compression is just gonna give your overall kit a little bit more of a kick or a punch. The tape adds a little bit of nostalgic warmth, while the limiter is going to let you control the output overall. And then let's try the limiter. So that lets you bump up the volume a little bit without it completely clipping. And then we have our secret sauce, and that actually relates back to our main page. So we bumped up the secret sauce all the way, but you know what? Yeah, let's keep it roughly around like 75%. Let's go back to master, and then we can see the input, compression of that, the attack, release, character, and the overall mix. And then last but not least, we have this pattern area. And this is gonna be perfect if you're anything like me and you just can't program drums in real time. This pattern area is going to give you everything that you need to just get you started. So over on the left, we have the MIDI pack. So it shows up our Prism LoFi. Then at the center, we have the groove. So you can choose if you want it to be slow, medium, or fast. And it gives you the beats per minute as well. So let's go for something medium. And then you have the pattern itself. So it could be bliss, it could be breeze, chill, ethereal, flicker, glow, haze, tranquil. Slow is actually going to have an entire list, a much larger list. And then you have fast as well. So again, let's just stick with medium for now. And let's pick maybe ethereal. So you'll see that directly in the bottom center, we now have that selected. You can play and hear how it sounds. You can choose the time to be normal, which is just 90 BPM. You can go halftime. And then you can also go double time. And again, these are set to the random samples that I picked. So Starry, Cosmic Raindrop, so it might not be the best. So let's actually bring it back. Let's go to something very simple. Let's go there and go back to the effects. We are on Moonlight, Moonlight for everything. Let's stick to normal. You can also adjust the tightness, the swing, and the velocity of the MIDI. So let's try increasing the tightness a little bit. And bring it down. So it's a little bit sloppier, but a little bit more humanized. Let's try the swing. Nice. And the velocity. Let's try maybe haze just to get another sound. lot, actually. All right, and you know what? Let's go for a faster pattern, maybe drift. Interesting. Oh, that sounds a little weird, actually. You know what? Awesome. And then, you know what? We haven't looked at slow. We have a massive list to choose from. Let's try serene. This is 70 BPM. That. And let's add a little bit of swing. All right, that one I like a lot. All right. And so let's say you pick something that you really like a lot and you're comfortable with the tightness, the swing, and just the overall vibe of it. You can now use this drag and drop MIDI feature. So let's say I want it roughly right there on the track at measure 25. Yes, I'm going to import the tempo. So now we can actually pick up our MIDI data and see what the drum itself is doing. And then let's say you decide for one other measure, I want it to be half time. So let me go over to that. And then I drag and drop the MIDI over here. And yes, I would like to import the tempo. And you see that the timing of the MIDI data was stretched out the way you had it within the plugin. Maybe realistically, I wouldn't want it to sound halftime. I like the way it sounded normally, but you have that option there. And I think that's what I like the most about this library, because I am just terrible at programming in real time, but having these pattern starting points and that drag and drop feature, it honestly makes me feel a little bit more creative because I'm not stressing over coming up with a beat. I have something there and then I can adjust accordingly. I want to thank the team at the Ava Music Group for sending over a copy of these drums. They're definitely a lot of fun to dive into and customize, and the whole user interface just makes the process significantly easier. Now, if you're interested in these or all the other libraries that they offer, then make sure you head on over to their website. And if you want to watch some more walkthroughs, then check out these videos next. I'll see you over there, and as always, happy composing.